Hey guys, it's Elizabeth. I just want to share with you, before I get started on the video, I love the fall because when I put on my clothes from the last season, I find money. I just found $10 in the pocket of this jacket, which is, I'm excited, made my day. Anyway, it's the little things that make me happy. Okay, so today I want to talk about 5 practices that can help you get through the dark night of the soul if you find yourself there. I will link the previous video I made on going through the dark night of the soul, so if you think you're experiencing that, you can watch that video and it will give you some insight and some other tips I have. But in this specific video, I want to talk about some ways that can help you deal with it and overcome it and move through it a lot faster with more flow in your life. So the first method I want to share is meditation. Meditation, actually, I would say, saved my life many times. It gets a lot of hype, I know, everybody says to do it, and you actually have to sit your ass down and do it. You can't meditate and not sit your ass down and do it. I know, it kind of sucks because it takes time and we're so busy. There's all these things to do, all these distractions, and let's face it, it's kind of boring, but it's really helpful. And I can attest that when I have been going through very hard times in my life, it has changed everything. And so I have made this a practice, and yes, there are times, and recently is one of them, where I have gotten out of my daily practice and then things get difficult again. So it's a slap in the face. Yes, I need to be meditating, get back to it. So there are so many different ways to meditate, and there are different types of meditation to achieve different types of results. So if you are working on getting through a difficult time, a dark time, the dark night of the soul, the best type of meditation is one of mindfulness. So there are a couple different options that I will share with you. One is just focusing on your breath. So you would just take some deep breaths in and out. And the point of meditation is not to stop all thoughts. That's a misconception. There is no possible way to stop all of your thoughts. So what happens is your mind's going to wander. It will. Expect it. Allow it. But when you recognize it is, that's when you bring yourself back. So if you're doing a breath meditation, you're just paying attention to the in and out breath. You breathe in, you breathe out. Your mind is focused on that breath, and every time it wanders, you just bring it back. The meditation that I do is also the method that I use to get into the meditative state, to tap into the intuition, which is using the mantra, aham. So it's not something I say out loud, it's something I say in my mind, and I just focus on the words aham. So the same as focusing on the breath. You see where my mind is? When my mind wanders, I bring it back to aham. And the other way that I know of is focusing on something that's going on in the background. So if I were meditating here by this water, the sound of the water is what I would be focusing on. And then every time my mind wandered, I would bring it back to the sound and concentrating on the water. You can also do meditation with your eyes open. I know some people like to focus on the candle flame. Same thing as the breath, the aham, or the water, or the air conditioner hum, or whatever is in the background. You would just focus your eyes and your mind on the flicker of the candle. Every time your mind wanders, you bring it back. That is the best type of meditation, I think, for a daily practice of mindfulness, of clearing your mind. And I don't mean clearing your mind because you're never going to get the gunk out, but for gaining clarity, and you're developing your intuition and getting in a more positive mindset and being able to deal with the day-to-day crap that's coming up in your life. That's the best way. I recommend starting with 5 minutes And you could just put the timer on your phone when you're doing it, 5 minutes, and then every day add a couple more minutes until you're doing 20 minutes every day. My recommendation is to do it every day at the same time. And for me, I like to do it first thing in the morning when I wake up, because then it's done. I'm still in that relaxed state, just coming out of sleep, and I am done for the day, and I've gained the benefits. But if you can't do it then, pick a time that you normally have free during the day, lunchtime, after work, whatever that time is for you, and do it. You do not need to be sitting cross-legged and in this formal meditative stance. You can lay down, but just make sure you don't get too relaxed to where you fall asleep, or you're not going to gain the benefits. So for me, I used to have a recliner that I would sit in and sort of keep it half up. So I don't have that anymore. So now I prop myself up on some pillows on the couch, and I move from my bed to the couch, because if I stay in my bed, I'm going to fall asleep. So I go on the couch, I prop myself up on 2 or 3 pillows, and that works out really well for me. There are also guided meditations you can do, which usually have a specific outcome associated with it: relaxing, going to sleep, helping you open your third eye, connecting to your guides. Those are really good, but not for those purposes. I would try one of the methods I just suggested. And if you start a meditation practice, I would love to know how it's working for you. If you need support, put some comments down. I'll respond to you. Next suggestion I have for you, if you're going through a dark night of the soul, is a formal gratitude practice. There are so many different ways you can incorporate gratitude into your life. Pick a couple of them and stick to it every day. Incorporate it as part of your schedule. So for my family, when we're eating dinner, we all go around the table and say 3 things that we're grateful for. I also start my day with this. So after meditation, I briefly think about a few things that I am grateful for. And what happens is, when I come up with a few things, it's like the list keeps rolling and rolling and rolling. So I am so grateful for sitting here by this water and hearing the sound of the water and being alone in this remote place. And then the gratitude just keeps rolling, which is really cool. So you can see how long you can keep it going. And I know at dinner time with my family, my son sometimes, because we usually limit it to, we don't limit it, but we set the expectation that everybody is going to share 3 things that they're grateful for. And sometimes I just keep going and going and going, and my son is like, but you said 3 things, Mom. And he gets a little bit frustrated, but you know, he's 11, so what can I expect? And it's a good way to get other people in your family. So if you have a partner or kids, it's just all around great practice. And it helps you transition your mind from looking for all the shitty things in your life and all the shitty things around you, to shift you into that space where you can be grateful and happy and find all of those wonderful things that are just there waiting for you, that maybe you're not seeing because you're depressed and everything feels yucky right now. The third method that would help you is self-development and introspection. This is so important. It's really important when things are tough to really go inside. What is it about you that you need to work on? What is it? A lot of times I dive into books such as Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now, and he has another book, The New Earth, I think it's called. And there are so many different authors that speak on self-development and offer some really helpful advice. But it's a great time to look at, what are my strengths? And then focus on those strengths. How can I leverage those strengths to get me through this time to make positive changes in my life? So for me, I know that I have a really positive attitude, but when I go through Dark Night of the Soul, it starts to get negative. I start seeing all the bad things around me, and then it gets like just overwhelming. So how can I leverage my positive attitude? How can I get it back? Those are some of the questions I ask myself when I'm in these periods of introspection. Another thing for me, positive trait about me, is that I really love to be of service and I give back. And so I start diving into that. How can I leverage that to help me get through this period? The fourth way to move through the dark night of the soul is allowing yourself to feel the way you're feeling. And I know this part sucks because those feelings are so hard to deal with sometimes, and they're dense and it's hard to move them. So I like to put a timeline on it. So if I'm feeling sad or depressed, I'll give myself, let's say, the weekend to go through it. And I really feel into my body. And it's key. This is key to pay attention instead of, okay, I'm feeling sad and letting those thoughts run. I'm sad because X, Y, and Z, and then this keeps going, and getting into those thought waves where it just keeps going and all the thoughts just keep launching off each other into this spiraling craziness. To start to shift it from your brain into feeling it in your body. So where am I feeling the sadness, the depression, the loneliness, the grief, whatever it is? Where am I feeling it in my body? And so let's say you feel it like in your solar plexus. You place your attention on it. What does that feel like? Does it feel like a rock is sitting there? Does it feel like a scratchy feeling? Does it feel heavy? Does it feel like it's this airy, like washed out feeling? And just give it that attention. And the most miraculous thing is that it starts to move out of the way. And you can go through this process of identifying all of those different feelings and seeing where it is living in your body, giving that attention and letting it move. And I'm not saying, sorry, my foot is falling asleep here the way I'm sitting. I'm not saying that it's going to miraculously move you from a state of depression and sadness and grief and whatever else you may be feeling. But it's movement forward and moving some of that stuck energy out of your body, and allowing yourself, being gentle with yourself to really feel the way you're feeling. And it's okay to feel like that sometimes. It's okay. But you need to move forward from it too, because you don't want to get stuck there. Okay, and the last thing I'm going to mention here is dealing with those negative thoughts. And I just was talking about how those thoughts sort of catapult off each other. And so how do you reel that in? Okay, a lot of the things I already talked about are steps to get there, the meditation. So you realize you're thinking these terrible thoughts, whatever that it is. They could be thoughts about yourself. They could be thoughts about your situation. They could be thoughts about how you think other people are thinking about you. And so when those thoughts start going, you acknowledge it and then bring it back to your breath, to the present moment, and focus on what's in front of you. But I know that doesn't work all the time. I know this, I live it, I deal with this too. So sometimes you need other methods. And so you can use a distraction method, okay? So have your list of things that you like to distract yourself, whether it's watching a movie, listening to music, and having those specific shows or specific songs that will move you there. For me, those methods don't work that well because I have a hard time concentrating when I get like that. I can't really sit and watch a movie if I'm going through this, or a television show, so it doesn't really work for me. But it may work for you. So one of the other things that I actually got this when I was working with somebody channeling recently is that you could take a talisman or like a rock, find something that has some meaning. It could be a crystal, a rock, a piece of paper with a symbol written on it, a special little gadget that you have. So I'm here, I'll pick up a rock. For me, and I love rocks, I pick them up wherever I go. So you could get a rock and it could just be the rock, or you could draw on the rock or paint the rock or do something to the rock, whatever. And identify something happy, like a happy memory or your happy place or a goal you're working on, like a 2-second clip in your head, a 2-second scene. So you're going to develop that when you're working with your talisman, whatever that may be. So for me, I love being in the sun on the beach. So for me, that's my happy place. So I would imagine myself laying on the beach with this feeling the sun. So that's like my 2-second clip. So when I find myself obsessing over these thoughts or whatever it is going on, I will use the rock as that grounding stone or grounding talisman to bring me back to where I need to be. So I'm going to, and you could even do like count to 3 or 5 or something, and then close your eyes. And you could do this, like you don't have to close your eyes. You'll get good at this after a while, where you could be in a meeting or in a large group of people or with friends and find this happening to you, and you can just like put your hand in your pocket with your rock, touch it. So you're grounding yourself in the present moment and thinking that scene through, whatever that scene is for you. So those are my 5 tips. I would love to hear if you guys have any other tips that might be helpful for others, to post them in the comments or email me so I can get them out to others. And I would love to hear your feedback. Let me know if these are working for you, how they're working for you, any changes you see in your life. And as always, I know it's difficult if you're going through the dark night of the soul. I know it's not easy, but you will make it through to the other side. And I am sending you lots and lots of love and peace and happiness. I hope you all are doing well, and I'll catch you in the next video.